Question is does his number deserve to be retired?
That's what everybody's been talking about on Bulls Twitter today. And I think vast majority of Bulls fans believe yes.
Yeah.
There are some who say, well, he had 3 great seasons and then kind of fizzled out. Sure. Is that worthy of having your jersey retired? The immediate counter to that is everything else that he meant and continues to mean to the city of Chicago and Bulls fans everywhere. Because, my phone's been exploding with people, hitting me up about, oh, hey, Derrick Rose retired today. How do you feel about it? This, that, what. The engagement we get on our various social media posts that are Bulls related, that are Derrick Rose related, compared to the average engagement of our non-Derrick Rose posts is outrageous.
It's ridiculous. And
people still feel that way about Derrick Rose.
And here's always been my answer to it. His number is already retired.
Right.
Because the Bulls player even thinks about putting that number on. The backlash that comes immediately.
Remember when Michael Carter Williams tried that?
Do I remember it?
I'm sorry.
Backlash, bro.
No, sir.
No, you will not put that jersey on. It's already been told to them that you can't put this jersey on. They have already retired it without the ceremony.
Didn't Io say that too? Didn't Io say, I would never even think about wearing that number?
Never.
He said something along those lines when he got drafted.
Listen, my opinion has changed.
Okay.
Because when this first became a pretty hot topic, one of the things I did was I was like, wait a minute, if he wouldn't have gotten hurt, absolutely, because you can only imagine the numbers and what he would have meant to the, to this team and what he would have accomplished. But then, as you just talked about, because of the injury, you're like, well, he just hasn't put up Hall of Fame numbers. So my answer was no. But as I've thought about it, and today he's officially retired, I think that they should retire his jersey, and not so much for what he did on the floor, but for what he meant to the city.
Correct.
How that era, because I remember going to the games and being like, man, this is what it was like when I played. This is again, the Bulls were once again must-watch TV.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what? And when you preface something by saying no disrespect, everybody's like, oh, man, you're dishing that man. I'm not doing that. But I decided, I was like, didn't the Miami Heat retire Udonis Haslem?
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it had nothing. I think he was their all-time leading rebounder.
Yeah, but still.
But it's what he meant to that.
It's what he meant to the city.
20 years in one team.
Right.
Yeah.
It's what he meant to that organization.
He was their Luol Deng. He just never left.
Yeah.
Right.
And then was like player/coach, age 42.
Yeah.
Still there.
And just super respected in that city as well.
But I think that he probably is this, it's debatable. But to me, from just what I've experienced over all these years of covering the Bulls, he probably is the second most popular player to ever wear a Bulls jersey.
Behind MJ.
Correct.
You think he's ahead of,
popularity?
Ahead of Scotty.
He's right.
I would say popularity-wise,
yes.
He's right.
Yes.
He's right. And even guys because then, again, retirement of a jersey is a team thing. So even guys like Tony Allen, who's about to get his jersey retired by Memphis. As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, yes. Because when I think of Memphis and what he meant to that, it makes all the sense in the world to me.
Because basically he was what the terminology that Memphis used.
Correct. That grind. You know what I'm saying?
He was the
grind father. That's what they call him. The grind father. So if in that sense, it makes sense. Again, this is not a league award. It is a team award. It's about what you meant to it, man. And nobody, as you just stated, was more popular or meant more to the Chicago Bulls and just the city and globally than Derrick Rose and Michael Jordan. That was it. Those are the two. And so you have to give him that love because he's earned that, man. And he's been that since Simeon.
Well, just think.
In the city, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even now, when was the last time you wore a Bulls jersey?
My Scottie Pippen when I went golfing. Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about when was Derrick Rose in a jersey?
His last season was 15-16. He got traded in the offseason before 16-17 to the Knicks.
If we were to go to a game this year, how many Derrick Rose jerseys do you think we would still see at the games?
A third of the stadium.
Yeah. You should have been in here earlier. When the Cubs did their show, they all had on Derrick Rose stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's the point.
Yes.
It's just, to me, why you should retire his jersey is because what he meant to this city,
Correct.
to the individuals, to the organization, about how it became must-watch basketball again.
And I think one of those short list athletes who had the power and like adoration to like unify the city. And like I remember I was, a young adult living in Chicago in those days of those playoff series, whether it be the Boston Battle in 09 when he, drops 36 and 11 in his rookie debut in the NBA playoffs, or the battles with the Heatles. Like this city, when the Bulls were like maybe kind of flirting with that level of good and contending and maybe championship contending for the first time since your era, Will, this city goes nuts for a Bulls team like that. And because Derrick Rose, Chicago's native son from Inglewood, star at Simeon, was the guy who was taking them there, it didn't matter what neighborhood in Chicago you were from or lived from. I mean, Big Dave and I are people who are diehard Chicago sports fans, could not be from more different backgrounds. I grew up in the west suburbs. He grew up east side here in the city. But when you were in that building cheering on Derrick Rose, we were all just Chicago sports fans.
Yeah, the unification is a great point because nothing else mattered. And he made cold-ass nights so much better in Chicago because you knew you were going to get to watch Derrick Rose. Like, I just remember certain moments with my friends just going. I remember the Dragic dunk and where I was. It was cold as hell. Like I remember being at my friend's apartment and watching it and losing our minds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And going crazy because I couldn't believe what I had just seen. Like Derrick Rose gave us that and that feeling. I remember game 1 of the playoffs against Boston when he went crazy. I think he had 35 that game. Like those are core memories, you know what I'm saying, for me, watching a guy like Derrick Rose, because it's truly the last time you had real hope in your heart that the Bulls were going to be that team. And Derrick Rose allowed you to have that. And all the stuff you talked about, this is my team, you know what I mean? I'm not going out, recruiting for nobody. That's Jordan-esque stuff, And that's what endeared you to him because, again, him being from the city, those things are who we kind of are here. You know what I'm saying? And it embodies that. So when he's out there saying those things, and you talked about the humility and his ability to just be an everyman, like that is just really Chicago stuff, you know what I'm saying, to us. And so that's why we just understood it and we felt it and we know that he's ours. We share him with the world, obviously. You share him with the world, but he was always ours, man. And yeah, he was just amazing, bro. It was so many glorious nights because of Derrick Rose.
So, everybody in the comments is talking about it. You posed a question yourself, Will. Of the people around here who know the Reinsdorf family well and how they operate, I feel like you are our inside source. What do you think? Do you think they're going to retire his number? No, knowing what you know about the Reinsdorf family, how they operate as owners and people who honor. They did the Ring of Honor thing starting last season and honored a number of people from the old days and then the even older days, like pre-dynasty. Do you think that his jersey is going to be up there?
I think eventually it will, yeah.
Okay.
I
think so. I agree. I don't see how you don't have that up there.
Yeah.
In the rafters.
I don't know why maybe they would drag their feet on it. I mean, like Bulls fans, I think for the most part, by and large, if you ask straw poll Bulls fans, 100 Bulls fans, should they retire his jersey? 90% would say yes / it already should have been retired.
Yeah.
Do it today.
Seriously, man.
90%.
When I think about just that number one, I think about how, well, because the Blackhawks logo is no longer on the floor. It's up now.
Yeah.
But when it was on the floor, how nobody stepped on it. You couldn't walk on it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how it was. That's how it is when I think about that Derrick Rose number.
Yeah.
And that jersey, you're just not allowed, you know what I'm saying, to have it or to wear it. It doesn't belong to you anymore. And, I mean, people will go insane if that's the case, man. Like, any other player, you know what I'm saying, you might be like, okay, outside of like Jordan and outside of Pippen, again, you see who I'm mentioning.
Yep.
I mean, any other player outside of that, you'll be like, oh, I don't like that. Yeah, and you might get a couple people, Matt, talking about, I can't remember who wore the 13, the one who got carried off the floor.
Tony Bradley.
Yeah, man. I was about that.
He shouldn't even have had that jersey in my brain for the rest of the time.
Shouldn't he had that jersey on? But Derrick Rose having it on everybody comes and floods. Like, what are you doing? You take that off right now, man. So, yeah, man, they got to retire it.
So you guys obviously saw the official statement by Jerry and Michael.
We did, yes.
There's a few things in here that tell me that they will. So this comes from Jerry.
Okay.
As both a player and a person, Derrick represents the grit, resilience, and heart of this city. He's one of the toughest and most determined athletes I've ever been around, constantly fighting through adversity that would have broken most. So that right there tells you what he represents as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So that, to me, if Jerry says that, it's not so much about, hey, we're retiring number one. It's about we're retiring Derrick Rose's jersey because of what he meant and how he fought through adversity.
Yeah.
And then this right here, every time Derrick stepped on the court, it felt like we had a chance to win, and his MVP season remains one of the proudest moments in this franchise's storied history.
Mm-hmm.
So if that is the case, that pretty much tells me that at some point they will. And this is Michael's statement. I won't read the whole thing. It is he was a once-in-a-generation talent who took the league by storm, becoming Rookie of the Year and the youngest MVP in NBA history. Blah, blah, blah. His legacy in Chicago is undeniable. He brought this franchise back into contention, won an MVP, and most importantly, inspired a city that will forever claim him as its own.
Yeah. It's true.
We all silly like the mayor.